Problemau Pobl Ifanc, young people's problems. This topic consists of 4 tasks to be completed over 4 weeks. The tasks begin very simply with key vocabulary in task 1, and gradually become more challenging in tasks 2 to 4. We suggest you complete 1 task per week and upload your answers for marking on a weekly basis. To make sure everyone is supported, answers for the tasks will be uploaded every Sunday evening. So let's make a start with task 1. The aim of this task is to introduce the key vocabulary needed to access this topic. The first exercise is to translate the English into Welsh. Some of them will be familiar to you, therefore focus on your spelling as you recall them from memory. If there are new words in the list, we suggest you use Google Translate, but take care when using Google Translate to translate more than 1 word. Remember the rule in Welsh when describing. The noun or verb comes first, followed by the adjective. So let's take a look at an example here, and we will pick passive smoking. Smoking is the verb, and passive is the adjective describing the type of smoking. So in Welsh, ysmygu is smoking, and the adjective, passive, is goddefol. So the Welsh translation of passive smoking is ysmygu goddefol. So the next task, we want you to respond very simply to the 2 key questions. Wyt ti'n yfed alcohol? Beth, pryd, gyda phwy, pam? Do you drink alcohol? What do you drink? When do you drink? With who and why? The second question, wyt ti'n ysmygu? Do you smoke? Now remember to answer yes or no before you begin your sentence. So the terms for yes and no you can see in the green box, ydw for yes, nag ydw for no. And then you follow your initial response with a basic sentence which begins with dwi for I. Some of you might be able to include additional detail, things like idioms and reasons, but it is essential that you do not Google Translate your answer. So moving on to the extension task. We want you to answer the following question in Welsh. Wyt ti'n adnabod rhywun sy wedi cymryd cyffuriau? Do you know someone who has taken drugs? Beth ydy dy farn di am gyffuriau? And what is your opinion about drugs? You could possibly reflect here on a famous person, or even a person from the world of sport, to include in your answer. So if you click now on the link to attempt task 1 and upload for marking. Diolch. Moving on now to task 2, which is a reading task. Its aim is to develop your skills in responding to a reading text. So let's read the first text together. Dyma ni. Mae problem yfed dan oed yn yr ardal. Mae pobl ifanc dan 14 oed yn yfed alcohol ar y stryd ar y penwythnos. Mae nhw'n prynu alcohol yn yr archfarchnadoedd, ac wedyn mae nhw'n yfed y caniau ar y stryd fawr ac yn y maes parcio. Dydy'r hen bobl ddim yn hapus yn cerdded ar y stryd ar ôl 5 o'r gloch. So a brief text there. And the first 4 questions, it is a case of deleting the wrong answers. or circling the correct answer. Felly, oed y bobl ifanc? Are these young people between the ages of 20 or 30 oed? Or are they in the category 14 I 15 oed? Or are they slightly older, 16, 17 oed? Prynu alcohol, ble. Prynu is the verb to buy. So we'll highlight that there for you. Prynu alcohol. Just go back to highlight rather than pen. Okay, so prynu, the verb to buy. Felly, ble mae nhw'n prynu alcohol? Caffi cled, Asda o siop y pentref. Yfed alcohol and ble. So let's highlight the verb again. Yfed, to drink. Ger y siopau. Ger yr ysgol or ger y traeth. Now, you won't find these keywords in the text, but there will be information that will help you work out exactly where these young people are drinking the alcohol. And the last one, pwy sy'n poeni. Poeni, it'll be a word that we will come across again. Poeni is who's worried. Is it the pobl ifanc themselves? Is it the athrawon? Or is it the pensionwyr? Okay, moving on to the next two questions. Ydy yfed dan oed yn broblem yn eich ardal chi? Is underage drinking a problem in your area? You simply need to write one Welsh answer. And we'd also like you to start this with a yes or no response, but be careful now which version of yes and no are you going to use. There is a clue in the question for you. The next question, mae llawer o bobl ifanc yn yfed alcohol. Beth ydy'r problemau posib? Lots of young people drink alcohol. What are the possible problems with this? And we'd like you to think of two sentences here now. Maybe you might start with, firstly, yn gyntaf. Secondly, yn ail. Or you could possibly use the connective hefyd, because at least that then will distinguish between answer 1 and answer 2. Iawn ten. Symud ymlaen. Let's move on to read the next, or the second text. This involves reading about Caris and Aled. They've both written paragraphs about the pressures young people face today. So as we read now, it's worth highlighting some key phrases and keywords which appear to be challenging as we go through. So yn gyntaf, paragraph Caris. Firstly, Caris's paragraph. Shwmai Caris ydw i. Dwi'n 14 oed a rydw i'n mynd I ysgol y Preseli. Mae llawer o bwysau ar bobl ifanc heddiw. So I'm going to highlight the first word here. Bwysau, pwysau, pressure. Mae llawer o waith cartref gyda fi. Dwi'n cysau gwaith cartref achos mae'n ddiflas iawn. Yr unig wers dwi'n hoffi ydy ymarfer corff. Achos does dim rhaid ysgrifennu. So I've highlighted yr unig wers. Yn Saesneg, the only lesson. Dwi wrth fy modd yn chwarae pêl-droed gyda fy ffrindiau yn ystod gwersi ymarfer corff. So I'm going to highlight yn ystod for you. Yn ystod ydy during yn Saesneg. Fy nghasbwnc ydy daearyddiaeth. Rydyn ni'n cael gwaith cartref bob wythnos. Does dim amser gyda fi I wneud gwaith cartref. Mae problemau eraill gyda phobl ifanc hefyd, fel alcohol ac ysmygu. Let's highlight eraill, because she now refers to school with there being too much writing and homework as one problem. So the other problem, so eraill is other problems facing young people is the issue of alcohol and smoking, alcohol ac ysmygu. Let's keep reading. Mae nhw'n ddrwg I chi. Now, ddrwg opposite to dda, ddrwg, bad. Mae nhw'n ddrwg I chi. Dwi ddim yn cytuno gyda nhw. Dwi'n ffrindiau gyda phawb, ond mae llawer o bobl ifanc yn ysmygu a ddylen nhw ddim. Mae llawer o bwlio yn digwydd tu fewn a thu allan yr ysgol hefyd. So let's highlight a longer phrase this time. Yn digwydd tu fewn a thu allan. Happening inside and outside the school also. Dydw I ddim yn cytuno gyda bwlio. Mae'n wael iawn. Mae pwysau ar bobl ifanc I edrych yn dda. So we're coming across the word pwysau again, but not in its mutated form, as it was earlier. So mae pwysau ar bobl ifanc. There is pressure on young people I edrych yn dda, to look good. Dydy Instagram ddim yn helpu. Ond wedi dweud hyn, mae Instagram yn rhoi cyfle I bobl I ddysgu am fwyta'n iach hefyd, achos mae llawer o broffiliau yn dangos bwydydd iach sy'n rhwydd I goginio. So I'm going to refer you to wedi dweud hyn. Having said that, a dangos is to show. So there are profiles out there on Instagram showing healthy foods, which are easy to cook. Herself, now her opinion about Instagram is, dwi'n mwynhau dysgu am fwydydd iach ar Instagram. So that is Caris. Yn ail, paragraph Aled. Secondly, Aled's paragraph. He too writes about the pressures facing young people today. Now, some things will be similar to what Caris has said, but he might also have a slightly different opinion with regard to other things. Felly banta ni. Haia, Aled ydw I. Dwi'n 15 oed, a dwi'n mynd I ysgol uwchradd y Frenhines Elizabeth yng Nghaerfyrddin. Dwi'n dwlu ar yr ysgol, a dwi'n mwynhau gwaith cartref achos mae'n helpu fi I reoli fy amser yn dda. Reoli here means to manage, helps him manage his time well. Fy hoff wers ydy Cymraeg, a dwi'n dwlu ar ddydd Mercher, achos rydyn ni'n cael gwaith cartref. Mae'n wych. Dwi'n hoffi'r gwersi I gyd yn yr ysgol, ond dwi'n cysau gwersi ymarfer corff, achos mae'n wastraff amser. Gwersi I gyd, all of the lessons. Mae llawer o bobl yn cael ei bwlio yn yr ysgol. Dwi'n meddwl bod bwlio yn wael, achos mae pobl yn dioddef yn fawr iawn. Yn dioddef? To suffer. Wedi dweud hyn, I hope we remember this one from the previous text, having said that. Dwi'n lwcus achos mae ffrindiau da gyda fi. Mae 4 ffrind gorau gyda fi, a rydyn ni'n cadw gyda'n gilydd yn yr ysgol. So he has 4 best friends, ffrind gorau. Dwi'n dwlu ar gymdeithasu gyda fy ffrindiau achos mae'n hwyl. Gymdeithasu to socialise. Mae problemau eraill gyda phobl ifanc hefyd. Y rhai gwaethaf yn fy marn I ydy alcohol ac ysmygu. Mae alcohol ac ysmygu yn afiach. So he reckons now that the worst problems y problemau gwaethaf ydy alcohol ac ysmygu. Mae pwysau ar bobl ifanc I edrych yn dda. So we've had the word pwysau twice already. Pwysau, pressure. Mae gormod o bobl yn defnyddio Instagram. Dwi'n cysau Instagram, gwastraff amser llwyr. Iawn ten. Let's move you to the next slide. So the first element of the reading task is to work out what is different. Be sy'n wahanol rhwng Carys ac Aled. Excuse the typing error there. That should say Aled. So what we want you to do then is we want you to write the differences between the two in the grid, yn Gymraeg, in Welsh, using Welsh sentences or words. Now don't forget, if you are including a sentence, the structure needs to be in the third person. So it would be my Carys yn, maybe her age, my Carys yn 14 oed. And if Aled has a different age, you would then write the sentence my Aled yn sentence. The next element is to fill the grid this time, but to note 4 things which Carys and Aled like. Now don't forget, in the text you won't always find the word hoffi, to like. You might come across other positive verbs such as enjoy, mwynhau, love, dwliar. So if they are using these verbs instead of hoffi, they are still expressing that they like something. So you can include them into the grid because they're being positive about them. So don't always look for hoffi. It might be there once, it might not even be there at all. But anything positive goes in the grid. Iawn te. Symud ymlaen, moving on to the extension task for task 2. This again is a GCSE style question. Beth sy'n debyg rhwng Carys ac Aled? What's similar between Carys and Aled? You will need to write third person sentences here, and one has been given for you. My Carys ac Aled yn. And then you finish by explaining what is similar between them. There might be 1, 2, 3 of the sentences needed by you. Keep them simple. 1 sentence for each similarity. And the last one, at bwy hoffet ti ysgrifennu pam? To whom would you like to write and why? Remember to respond using full Welsh sentences, taking evidence from the paragraphs written by either Carys or Aled, because you're choosing which one you would write to. And also, it's important that you start or you use the phrase hoffwn I ysgrifennu at. I would like to write to. Da. We've also included an example of a graph for you to read and respond to. This is an example of the type of graph you could have in the Unit 2 speaking exam. So let's take a look at the graph and the questions. Problemau Pobl Ifanc 14 I 16 oed. So let's look at the problemau, what they are. Ysgol is one problem. Rhieni is another problem. Now rhieni, another name for mum or dad, parents. Third problem, bwlio. Next, yfed alcohol. And then you have ysmygu. So those are your categories of the problemau, problems. And down here is your data, your percentages, canran. They've been grouped as merched, the girls, and bechgyn, boys. So now we've understood the graph, we can now respond. So you need to answer the questions or fill in the gap on bullet point 4 with key Welsh words or numbers. No sentences needed. Beth ydy thema y graff? Beth ydy'r broblem fwyaf ym marn y merched? So, y broblem fwyaf. The biggest problem. Beth ydy'r broblem fwyaf y marn y bechgyn? So I need to read the graph now and work out the figures. Mae hanner y merched yn poeni. Worried about, poeni am, what are they worried about? Hanner of the merched. Ond dim ond, but only, and we want to know the percentage, y cant, o'r bechgyn sy'n meddwl bod hyn yn broblem. I want you to work out the figures then. So moving on now to the next section. Ydych chi'n cytuno, agree, gyda'r graff? We want one single response, a yes or no, and one sentence. Yes, I agree with the graph. Doesn't ask you why, because the why comes in the next section. Rhowch dau reswm. Give 2 reasons. And again, remember, what we always encourage you is to split the reasons up so that the examiner can see them clearly. Firstly, yn gyntaf, what's your first reason for agreeing with the graph? Yn ail, secondly, your second response for why you agree with the graph that you have just read. Nesaf, sut fath o broblemau sydd yn yr ysgol yn eich barn chi? What type of problems are in the school as illustrated by the graph in your opinion? So again, you need to read the graph and then you list the problems which are there. The biggest problems that you can see, in order then of the most concerning. And the last aspect, enwch dau broblem arall sydd gyda phobl ifanc heddiw yn eich barn chi. Name in Welsh 2 other problems young people have today in your opinion. And you simply write the keywords in Welsh, problem 1, what it is. Problem 2, what your other thoughts are. Which other problems are there? Da. So now if you click on the task 2 link and give this reading task your best effort. Diolch. Task 3 is a grammar task. The aim of this task is to improve the accuracy of your grammar and also to prepare you for the writing task of task 4. So the first element is to connect the Welsh to the English translations by placing the correct letter under each number. The numbers have already been placed in the grid for you. The numbers are connected to the Welsh and the letters are linked to the English phrases. Now the focus of this particular translating task is cyffuriau ydy drugs. And obviously these key sentence structures will be things you can use later on when writing in detail about this topic. Moving on to the translating tasks. We need you to translate the following key phrases into English. Newid personoliaeth, mynd yn gaeth, dinistrio, I wella ei perfformiad, twyllo, and lastly, beryglus. Now, if I refer back to the previous slide, you will notice that all of them, apart from the last one, are in red on this slide. So if you've worked out the connections already, then you should be able to work out what newid personoliaeth means. So you don't need to Google Translate for this particular translating task. Okay. Now these are the facts about alcohol. Alcohol, y ffeithiau, the facts. And again, these are key phrases that you will be able to use when you are writing about the problems of young people in task 4. But this time we want you now to translate them. Mae alcohol yn arafu'r ymenydd ac yn arafu'r adweithiau. Mae'n achosi problemau emosiynol ac mae rhai pobl yn dreisgar. Mae yfed gormod yn achosi niwed i'r afu. Mae gor-yfed yn achosi cirrhosis yr afu, salwch y stumog, canser a pwysedd gwaed uchel. Yn ôl arolwg diweddar, Pobl Ifanc Cymru ydy yfwyr Ewrop. Now these are more challenging. This contemporary theme is obviously more difficult to discuss than things such as leisure time. So naturally the sentence structures are going to be a little bit more complex, but break them into sections and get a gist of what the Welsh is and put the English down, write the English down. So the next slide, these are the ffeithiau, the facts about ysmygu, about smoking now. And I'll read them for you, because maybe there might be some clues in the pronunciation. Mae sigarennau yn cynnwys cyffur peryglus o'r enw nicotine. Mae eich anadl yn drewi a mae eich bysedd yn troi'n felyn. Mae ysmygu yn gallu eich lladd chi. Mae'n cael effaith gwael ar eich iechyd. Bronchitis, cancer y geg, a cancer yr ysgyfaint. So the word cancer, we've seen it on the previous page, but it came up that time as cancer. Same term. Mae ysmygu yn straen ar dy boced ac ar dy galon. The next element is a firm favourite of ours in school, the proofreading exercise. It consists of 12 mistakes ranging from punctuation, spelling, mutations, and inaccurate sentence structures. Now the extension task is a translating task also. You will have a question similar to this in the Unit 3 reading and writing exam. So let's just read through it. Stop smoking. It's dangerous. It's bad for your health. It's a waste of money. Phone 0800 561 2121. Today. Text 80800 for help. So before we even begin, it's important that you remember you do not need to change those numbers into Welsh words. You are translating it so it is a replica of what you see. So we've broken it down into key sections for you to consider, because when you look at it in a full piece like that, it is quite difficult. So let's break it up. So can you think of what the word would be for stop? I will remind you now that there are 3 commands here, and I hope you remember what you do at the end of the command. It's different from the basic verb. So we have stop and then smoking. It is dangerous. So I could ask you here now, what is the keyword for is? If you remember what it is, it always begins your Welsh sentence. It's dangerous, here it comes again, it's bad, for, and then your health. It's a waste of money. So here comes the second command, phone. Then we have the term today, and the command is text again, and then for help. So the link for task 3 is there for you. So pob hwyl a banter chi. And finally now we have reached task 4, the writing task. We want you to simply answer 4 key questions for this topic. And we have included slides to support you with this task. So here are some general key vocabulary: ysmygu, yfedanoed, bwlio, pwysau cyfoedion, rhieni, cyffuriau. You can read them there for yourselves. Don't forget the other key vocabulary was back in task 1 as well, and those answers have all now been uploaded for you. We've also included some general sentence structures for you, so that you can use them in order to help you respond fully. This is the verb should. It's been run in its positive version. And then we have the negative. Don't forget, with the negative, we are adding them to it, but as a result of it being negative, there's a mutation at the beginning of the verb. The positive is dylwn i, I should. The negative for I shouldn't, ddylwn i ddim. Important phrases here: dwi'n meddwl bod, dwi'n credu bod, yn fy marn i mai. Iawn, bendigedig. Then we want you to reflect. Now, does your work contain the following? So again, bullet point 1, a variety of tenses. Dwi'n for I. Roeddwn i'n, I used to. Fydda i'n, I will. Hoffwn i, I would like to. Now you could change those into the third person as well. Mae ein, mae hi'n. Roedd ein, roedd hi'n. Bydd ein, bydd hi'n. Hoffai e, hoffai hi. Again, then that adds more of a variety to the writing. Don't forget the idioms. A dweud y gwir, a bod yn honest, yn bersonol. There are loads of other ones. We have asked you to think of comparisons, cymariaethau. The facts are important, the ffeithiau, very important that you give key facts. And mae cigarettes yn cynnwys cyffur o'r enw nicotine. This came up in a previous translating task. Cigarettes contain a drug by the name of nicotine. So it's important that that fact is in your response. It could be the reason why you don't smoke, because nicotine is dangerous and you become addicted to it. We would like you also to include personal sentences about yourself. Reflect back. Es I barti dydd Sadwrn. Yfais I ddŵr. I drank water. Ces I had. Now there is an extension phrase sheet as well for you. Dwi'n cytuno ond. Ga I ddweud, can I say. Hefyd, also. Ar ben hynny, on top of that, yn ogystal â hynny, as well as that, wrth gwrs, fel fy ffrind. And then maybe there is an opportunity for you to put in a rhetorical question here. Did you know that? Did you know that cigarettes contain a dangerous drug by the name of nicotine, which would make your writing very effective? So let's take a look at the 4 key questions now. Now, we fully appreciate you have answered some of these questions already in task 1, but we want you now to aim to include greater detail this time. So cwestiwn 1, wyt ti'n yfed alcohol? Beth, pryd, gyda phwy, pam? Cwestiwn 2, beth wyt ti'n feddwl am bobl ifanc yn yfed alcohol? What do you think about young people drinking alcohol? Cwestiwn 4, wyt ti'n ysmygu? Pam? Beth ydy dy farn di am ysmygu? What is your opinion about smoking? And again, don't forget to include those key facts that we've worked on previously. Iawn te. The extension task is to reflect on cyffuriau drugs. Wyt ti'n adnabod pobl sy'n cymryd cyffuriau? And beth wyt ti'n feddwl am gyffuriau mewn chwaraeon? What do you think about drugs in sport? We want you to keep your answers for the extension task simple, but if you go back and obviously use the fact sheet previously introduced with regard to cyffuriau drugs, you can include those sentences within your answers. Iawn then, so if you click on the task 4 link now, and then once you've completed, you upload your work for marking. Diolch.